Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Blue Sports Report. Without you guys, man, this literally does not work. Man, I've been running around today, got some video footage and things. I'm downloading it, and while I'm downloading it, I've been racking my brains. You know, I hate the fact that my Cowboys aren't here at the Super Bowl again. And I'm looking at the Rams. I mean, we know New England is always good. Bill Belichick has a way of constantly turning over the roster. Tom Brady has always been great, and of course, he gets a little help from the officials too. But I'm just sitting here looking at my Cowboys who aren't here and thinking about Jason Garrett. And a lot of times we do the same thing over and over because it's the way we've always done things. And you've always heard Jason Garrett talk about, that's the way we do things here in Dallas. And I keep thinking, well, what has your way done for our team? And on the flip side, I look at the Rams, and as I go through the numbers, this is crazy. I want you to listen to this. Because you had Jeff Fisher, who took Tennessee, of course, to the Super Bowl, and literally was about a half a yard away from winning a Super Bowl. And he was a well-respected coach, although it seemed like he went downhill. But when you start looking at the record that they had his last 5 years with the team, they were 7-8-1, third in their division, 7-9, 6-10, 7-9, and 4-9, getting fired. Now think about that. Elder coach, guy who's been around, who supposedly knows things. He had Air McNair and everything else. They drafted Jared Goff, who didn't even look like he was an NFL quarterback. In fact, they were talking about he may be one of the biggest busts in all times. And you bring in a former Washington Redskin coach. There's nothing in his resume that said that he should do what he did. But just think about this. He took that team in the draft. This is the players that they drafted. They got Gerald Everett in the second round, tight end, 16 receptions that year, 244 yards. No big deal. They didn't have a first round draft pick. Let's start there. This is 2017. They got Cooper Kupp, who great wide receiver, rookie year, 62 receptions. Fantastic guy. But then they had safety John Johnson. 91 tackles, not bad. But everywhere else, Josh Reynolds, 11 receptions. Outside linebacker with 22 tackles. There wasn't a big infusion of talent. There wasn't. But he took Jared Goff and ended up all of a sudden figuring out what he did well and made him a very capable quarterback and, dare I say, first half of the season, an MVP candidate before he kind of came back down to earth. He took Todd Gurley and made him an incredible weapon in the passing game. And this is what's crazy because think about this. He took a team that the best record they had was 7-9, and he goes 11-5. 11-5, and then 13-3, and is in the Super Bowl in 2 freaking years. Back-to-back division titles. So now here we are with Jason Garrett, who's been offensive coordinator and head coach of the Dallas Cowboys now going on 11 years. There's an interesting stat since, of course, like the 70s of things. Generally speaking, head coaches that are with the team for 5 years or more, if they have not won a Super Bowl within 5 years, they don't. It's a fact. In 5 years, you have enough time to implement your system, to turn over a roster, and hopefully get your game plan enacted. He's had enough time to turn over the roster twice. Remember, we had Tony Romo and DeMarcus Ware and all those guys, DeMarco Murray. That group is gone. And now, of course, you got Dak, you got Zeke, you got Amari Cooper, and you start looking at the number of Pro Bowl players that we have, looking at having the best offensive line in football. So the question you have to ask is, are we really better keeping Jason Garrett, his system, and now taking Kellen Moore to help implement his system even more? This is where Jerry Jones really has to stop and think for a minute and wonder before we end up extending this contract, because he's going into the last year of it. Is this the guy that's going to be able to take this team to that Super Bowl? And I'm beginning to wonder if that is the case. He's the longest tenured coach without a Super Bowl. Now, you've got all kinds of talent out there. And if Sean McVay can take a team that over the last 5 years hasn't been over 500, even close to 500, and in 2 years taking to the Super Bowl. Imagine what somebody else might be able to do with the talent that the Cowboys have right now. Nothing against Jason Garrett or anything, but the bottom line is the bottom line. And after seeing this, a 32-year-old coach in the Super Bowl, you tell me what you guys think. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'll be seeing you guys here all week at the Super Bowl. See you soon.